mid lane. That's exactly what we were calling for both these two teams. It's kind of like we set the stakes a little bit. That Jax, though, for Invincible will be really nice for NIP to play around. But this is a no-holds-bar draft from NIP. They need to find aggression. They need to find picks. And they need to do it as soon as they hit that level 6 mark. And on the other side, you have a lot of stability, a lot of sustainability as well. And now that the Scion for Shanji has come through.
NIP at the 1-item mark become Exodia, but they have to try and end the game at that point, because if you end up not getting yourself a significant lead at that 1-item mark, and you make a mistake into the Zeri, into the Ari Viega resets, particularly when it's being enabled by a champion that's very hard to dive in that Scion. Typically, you with the TF, you want to be diving sideline. Scion makes that a little bit hard. It has a lot of wave clear. Even if you kill him, he gets to clear out the wave afterwards. OMG, they have loads of slapback potential to NIP's really proactive, aggressive draft.
So as we get into it, we had already stated how volatile this mid lane can be, but now that we see the kind of setup for jungle, I expect that mid lane to influence the jungle skirmishes very, very heavily. But that is all eyes for me early on, is where these paths for Shadow and Aki are going to be, how the cohesion between the two jungle and mid synergies is going to look like, and that if Fodak and Zhuo can get anything in this 2v2, because we've seen what happens when a Zeri makes it past 25 minutes. There is a timer, it feels like, to some extent. And yes, Lucian, LPL, they scale together, but it's still a Zeri that you have to be careful for. And we're going to be getting into game 1 now. I specifically think that early on, it's going to be a little bit of this skirmish down towards bottom lane, maybe some bottom lane pathing here for both sides as well. And we're going to be kicking off game 1 very, very shortly here, Nightmare.
Onto the Rift we go. Looking at these champions heading onto the Rift themselves. I think you're absolutely right talking about that Lucian. It does scale a little bit better in the LPL than it does elsewhere in the world. We play around our power spikes here incredibly effectively, but it needs to be even more so in this game. You let that pressure slip for one moment. Maybe OMG slipped the net with it. Could really look for something. They're going a little earlier than that, though.
There we go. There's that point and click, though. You're looking for the lockdown, and they find it on a PP God. It's going to be Angel that picks up that kill, and NIP with the decisive play makes something happen.
But if you don't have those tools now to make a play as the Baron is up and OMG gets to threaten you around that objective, then you start questioning the value of this play. Getting the kill onto PP God, sure, very easy to take down. One of the ways you deal with enchanters is say, well, you can save other people, but can you save yourself? No, you can't in this case. Too much single target damage. Invincible takes down bot side turret, has himself a flank angle, has himself a flash as well. Okay, OMG, you gotta be prepared for this.
He's been seen. They got lightning crash in. Abel, he's so low. The wild growth right on the back line goes Invincible. As Fodak is taking down Aki, he's focusing him down at NIP. They're mechanically outplaying OMG right now. They just picked apart a fight that OMG wanted to take. You got about 4,000 health left. There's that TP coming down. Should be body blocked by Shanji and Co. Trying to catch out Aki, but they're just going to turn. Dragon resetting now. NIP will sacrifice Invincible's life. No, Invincible makes it out. Now Cream is overextended. Cream, you can't do that, brother! As he's just down. A big mobile piece is gone. And Shanji, you ain't that mobile either, bud. As that is a Zhuo kill, but 2 quick ones for NIP.
It is an Invincible really threatening the base. OMG, they are running out of time. Here goes Zion.
They're just going to go in for it. Invincible's looking to end the game right now. All NIP need to do is buy time and survive. That's a inhib tower down at the bottom lane, and OMG are starting to scramble. Yeah, Destiny popped here, and Shadow moving forward. They're going to engage. They get a nice little one onto the mid as no. Oh my god, that Everfrost was so big, and Invincible comes in on the flank now as well. You got Cream going down to Fodak, and it's just a pick apart session from NIP, and it's OMG will not be put back together this time. An amalgamation of NIP's carry and 1 kill to OMG has led to a 28-minute dominating performance from NIP, and they're now looking at the Baron.
Oh, but they can't take down Abel. They can't take down the Lawnmower. He hasn't even finished his 3 items. Dangerous moment there from NIP. Even though they win the fight, they've managed to disengage a number of times. They still come out the winners of that play, but there were some dangerous signs because Abel actually got to free fire. OMG, they're going to have themselves at least 1 more fight in this game. They're going to be a little bit further behind in gold. They're going to be against another stack of that Baron as well. But this is how they tried to go about breaking this chokehold that NIP have on the map with the winning side lanes. Cream, he has forever been such an important playmaker for NIP, but it's a difficult job in this game. Lots of mobility on the primary target that he wants to hit, Fodak, and you can see that he is just outstepping him every time he jumps forwards. Angel gets back into the backline, tries to get something onto Abel. But this is where the build of TF and TF's current state kind of comes into effect, right? Abel is not going to be under threat from the TF alone, and he does find himself a brief pocket of time to get something working. Aki gets himself a reset, but it's not the most helpful one. Gonna throw that one out there.
That just hurts. You can't even touch your character. You don't even get to do anything. But it was, again, that kind of rearing head of OMG at this point, something we've been building to, something that Abel has been building to now that he's got 3 items under his belt. And it's NIP with this Baron buff, with this Dragon Soul point, who continuously need to press forward. They have broken open the base of OMG, but they need to start looking at ending the game.
And they will have a couple of extra play patterns to work towards, right? Because you do have the double side laners of NIP. Aki, of course, not going to be able to pick up his own blue buff. Of course, buff sharing is now in the game. That's a thing. It always weirds me out trying to see that. I'm like, where's Ivan? It's not just an Ivan thing anymore. NIP, anyway, pick up that blue buff for Shadow. Again, they have themselves Angel coming back with level 16. So he has that rank 3 of that ultimate, longer range, lower cooldown. Able to join the fight when he wants to. OMG, they're going to have to try and hold on to their last inhib tower. At least they have all their inhibs right now, so they don't have any super minions to worry about.
NIP just going to try to stretch them a little bit thin here, go towards the bottom side with Invincible and try to get one of these inhibs down, get some super minions spawning. We'll see how quickly OMG can kind of assign lanes. They do have a decent amount of wave clear strength here as well through Abel and through Cream. But it's still about those assignments and how quickly NIP want to pull the trigger if they do catch somebody overextended like they have right now. Aki at about half health now just after that one trade, and here comes some inhibs going down. Invincible takes the bottom first. Shadow and Angel will take the mid lane.
Love the coordination from NIP there, though. Photic pulls the ult, chunks people down, holds them around that top side as the 2 bot side inhibs are falling. And NIP, they are really playing out this game about as cleanly as they can in the game 1.
They're looking really fine right now as well. Photic gonna be engaged on here, did have to flash. They've got Cream locked down though, and that's the single target. He goes golden, got the lightning crash from Abel. NIP looking a little bit scared. Abel goes over Ham. He's looking for some shots though, as now Aki is gone. You got Abel going forward though. He still has that 3-0 spike. He's scary, but Invincible is ending the freaking game right now. He's onto the Nexus as he's fighting away. You got Cream trying to take him out. Abel getting low. Abel gets the wild growth, but Invincible is the game!
NIP slap OMG right in the teeth in game 1. Champion beyond even what his kit just provides.
It does seem like NIP want to go more towards a stable composition that can potentially hover over objectives, at least with the Maokai to start off with. And this combo we've seen used so lethally. The poke that you get with the Jace, if you get anything ahead with this pick, but as well as the preemptive setup you get with the Maokai is so deadly. And on the other side, we do still have some very heavy meta picks available. Wukong, which was banned away in the second phase last time around, should be a big priority here to give Aki a little bit more breathing room.
It also gives you the ability to disengage from the Maokai ult because the Wukong clone will tank up one of the tendrils in the Nature's Grasp. That's very important. That's one of the big reasons we see Wukong particularly into Maokai as well. Despite him being a good champion in general, it's just another interaction which makes him really strong. Maokai Jace, a combo which buys a lot of space for the Shock Blast to come in. My issue here, though, is it's a good combo, but when you put the names OMG and NIP into this game, and you look at how NIP won game 1, it was about them being proactive and able to play very aggressively on the map. This is more stand your ground, play keep away. Playing keep away versus OMG rarely works. They are very good at reaching you despite your keep away tactics. So even with these combos being meta and Invincible going back to the Gnar, another champion he's picked up time after time, I'm looking at OMG's champions and I think this is a much better place for them in game 2 compared to that game 1 draft.
Yeah. I will also just say this is a 6th Ahri play from Cream so far this play, and a 6th Gnar play from Invincible. So definitely leaning on comfort here for both sides in terms of a couple of their solo laners. But now we're getting into the second phase. We get that Malphite ban and the Rakan from NIP. On the other side, we have that Lucian ban. So rightfully so, taking away some of that 2v2 aggressive nature of Photic and Zhuo.
Okay, so yeah, that's worth noting actually. A lot of the time by this point of the game, you've got a lot of your bot lane champions locked in. So your primary duo is going to start getting taken away. The FLS, of course, so very, very strong. And this is a little bit of a worry in its own right for NIP now because You know that Shanji has a very wide champion pool. Banning out his champions in the second round is not going to have the same effect as banning away primary bot lanes, because bot lane is such a powerful point on the map right now. As we were seeing in the interview from Angel before the game, if you get a lead in bot lane, you tend to win. So letting that Aphelios go through when you have no bot lane picks yourself locked in, it's fairly difficult to figure out what you're going to pick now in 4 and 5.
Hey, this is something that we've seen at least very heavily in week number 1 as a response to Aphelios, and something that when it gets off the ground running will actually, if we've seen, dumpster the Aphelios in the matchup. So
yeah,
going with a very heavy, momentum-based composition right now for NIP, it'll be countered at the moment by the Nautilus with a lot of that forward frontal engage and maybe a little bit of team fight sauce thrown in there from OMG.
This is the worry, right? Because the problem wasn't that there are 80 carries available. Jinx, great 80 carry. The question is, can you now 5th pick a support that allows you to, 1, lane into the Aphelios Nautilus? That's difficult in its own right. And then also survive a team fight versus the Wukong, the Ahri, and everything else. Because you look at the Aphelios Nautilus and you probably predict that Braum coming through. That's one of the last remaining supports that can buy you some space. Braum doesn't save you versus a cannon and a Wukong getting right on top of you, because their ultimates aren't projectiles. You can stand on top of your Jinx, but you just die valiantly with them. You only have 1 exhaust to kind of take down multiple players. So I'm looking at OMG's comp now, and that 4-5, after the way that the draft came out, made it very difficult for NIP to pick a support that would satisfy laning phase and then also the team fights, which are going to be so important later.
And that's why I was so curious that they waited so long to grab these, but maybe some priority given elsewhere, wanting to run this kind of poke you down, engage into you while you're on an objective style composition and look for a front to back fight, where I think OMG have a lot of flexible options for themselves. And the way that game 1 went, they had one option. It was make it to the late game. It feels like this time around they have a little bit more breathing room, as has kind of been the theme so far for them.
Yeah, well, OMG, they'd want a little bit more room than to just breathe. They want to find themselves in a very strong position in this game and slap back in game 2. The way that OMG does tend to, they have themselves some iffy game 1s to settle themselves in. It's one of the beauties of the LPL as a region. Best of 3 is all day, every day. It gives you that ability to revisit some of these more difficult questions posed to you on the first time of asking.
So we saw questions answered by Angel in game number 1. He even was speaking about how important this lane matchup will be. We said at the very beginning how important him versus Angel, or Angel versus Cream, will be. And we saw a little bit of that go down in game number 1. Volatility is what I expected. Mobility is what we always get and what we got. And now we're looking at game 2 that Cream can try to bounce back in this one-on-one matchup, back on the Ahri, and especially trying to even up the odds here as we hit the Rift for game number 2. It's NIP in their home arena on their home Rift versus OMG.
You standing still, and we'll flash right on top of you. As it stands, big run towards this top side. Joao and Shadow looking to protect their top laner, who is continually falling down. No flash this time, remember. Shadow, he might be able to flash forward here.
They actually get this though with the big combo. It's the Slicing Maelstrom back, Invincible getting low, but he has that hop, and Shanji should go down here, will end up falling, but Aki with a double cleanup, but the Cyclone get whipped up in the storm of OMG. Joao will dodge out, but here comes PP God, hits the dredge line, and this should be Cream wiping this one up as one more goes through. The fire will be lit under NIP. Abel in some trouble here. Abel will go down here as a return. NIP gets something as Angel actually gets the kill onto Abel.
Still a sizable victory for OMG. When left in isolation, we've seen Shanji do very well. One of the things we asked for from game 1 is, hey, we need to give some more agency to Shanji from the side of OMG. NIP said, no, we would like that to really not happen, and so they send 3 people up there, but the timing's not quite there. The exhaust comes through to deny some of the damage. Can't exhaust a tower, so that one's a little bit awkward. And then the rest of the party come to play.
Also, I will just say, Joao, if he hits that Winter's Bite, the play comes a little bit differently. I still think Aki cleans up, but we also see that they've just taken the Rift Herald, and they're already looking top as Invincible doesn't have Meganar, and the CC chain should follow. The flash has already come out, but a dead little Gnar goes to Aki's pockets.
Plates in that mid lane. Full tower in the mid lane.
Abel, the response.
Die?
Oh, because of the Moonlight Vigil from the Severum. Speaking of driver's seat.
They're heading to...
oh, God.
Wow. They're heading to the morgue with Shadow's body. That's where they're driving. He's dead again.
Doing so much damage to Angel right now. Slicing Maelstrom signals the end potentially. One more Shuriken could do it, and there you go to the back of the head.
From game one, getting absolutely slammed, but as we know they can do, they absolutely right the ship in game two. And NIP, this was the kind of play that they would be absolutely be winning in that first game. They would have had a TF coming over to help them. They would have had some proactivity on the map, but it's just not the same style of composition. As you were saying earlier, if they get to stand and fight, buy themselves that time to poke people out, that's all great. That's awesome. That's what they can do. They are not built to face off against very fed, strong solo laners, starting to pick them off before they can group up.
Kennen may be small, but Shanji is big and flexing all over NIP. This can't happen, that's for sure. As Flash comes out from Invincible, there will be TP responses coming through as immediately Slicing Maelstrom Cream is lighting him up too as Angel goes down. Invincible tries to get Meganar, misses the ult team, but just tried to get the activation. And he goes straight down to a double kill to Cream.
Clean sweep across the map. They get the top side fight into the mid lane push, into a bot side turret, into a dragon. It starts off with NIP trying to break one of these aggressive plays, at least stop OMG having the momentum on the map. But once again, they're doing this into all of the tools available from the hyper-fed solo laners of OMG, comboing up together through the top side of the map.
God, it just feels so good to be an OMG fan of this game number 2. That's so big. They get the bear. Now they're looking for the fight as well. There's Shanji flank here as well. It wasn't even a flank. He just flashed over the wall there. Angel does get a trade back, but it's now front to back for OMG. They get engaged on from Shadow on the side. Cream getting a little bit low. Photic is trying to light him up, but Abel, he's stepping forward. He's got so many chakras. Photic, he won't get the trade back down. And Angel running away for his life, trying to get saved by Shadow here. But OMG, with that Baron buff, get the resets, get back onto the map, and have complete dominion.
This is the problem with picking that Braum on that 5th pick. It's going to do fine against lane, against Abel and PP Gods, Aphelios and Nautilus. But what do you do against the Kennen? You can't body block that ultimate. The exhaust comes through, but at this point, the Kennen is so fed. And you can only be in one place at once. So while Kennen does fall, he does enough to buy some space to the rest of his team to slaughter the top side of the fight. Of course, he doesn't catch the carries completely. That's where the gold lead really comes into play. If you were any more even in this game, of course, Abel would probably die there. Doesn't happen to be the case, though. OMG walk away with a 1 fight, walk away with a Baron. Cream feels like he is safe enough to be the person on the side lane, splitting in 1-4. No flash on Shanji right now. Not able to completely go in.
There's that body blocking you were talking about earlier on in the game from Aki. We'll dodge out of the Super Mega Death Rock. It goes right back in, though. That's a big Meganar, but they dodge out of it for the most part. Moonlight Vigil connects, and damage done! OMG! They actually get Photic trying to get something over there. Angel is the dodge out of the dredge line, but it's OMG with unrelenting pressure here. They're just looking for the end right now. They're going to TP in. They still got 35 seconds on the Baron buff, and they're looking at the Nexus. OMG trying to push us to 3 games as is tradition. Lockdown comes on to Photic and goes golden, but the Nexus is in the eyes of OMG. They turn, they head straight to game 3, and we got a series, baby. Blue side with that ban of the Zeri, the Cassante, and the Rumble. We got that Nico, Lucian, and TF banned by OMG. And first pick priority from NIP is actually the Aphelios.
Well, you have some issues here now. You either give up via Ahri or you give up the Milio. I don't think you can give up the Milio. I think that's the right choice. You have to pretty much take Ahri on this rotation now. Now, Angel is a good player of the Ahri. And that Cream and Angel are 2 of our better Ahri players in the league. Turns out we have a lot. Oh, no!
Okay.
Yubi made it through!
The double kitty cat comp. Is Ahri a kitty
Wait,
cat?
hang on. I take offense. No, she's a fox, Mazel. They're completely different.
Ears, tails, you know, animals. I know what animals do.
That encompasses like dozens of different animals. Anyway, we have a lot of different picks making it through for this 3rd game. The learnings from that first game meant that the TF was taken off the table from OMG. They gave up the Milio. Everything's been given up in response, though. We're not going to get ourselves something like the Zeri Yumi. But now with the Tristana locked in, Cream did play this a lot in mid lane. It's pretty good into the Ahri as well. You get early shove, which is not something that Ahri typically has to deal with. And it can combo up well with a Vi in terms of, again, jumping forward, having high target access. So that could be in mid lane. I don't know whether Milio Tristana is a good bot lane. I haven't experienced that myself. Because Aphelios Yumi is not necessarily the most pressuring bot lane, I think you could survive in that CBT. So technically still flex. And effectively, I think OMG are using that flex. I think that Annie is just going towards that mid lane.
think about the range. You already get advanced range as you level up with Tristan as you go through the game, right? But
No, true.
also with Emilio, that range advantage is going to be insane. And the single target selection that they're going to have right now with the Annie now locked in is so troublesome for NIP. Now, they do have a lot of really good peel tools right now. They get the Viego for Shadow, something aggressive to combat Aki's Vi. But it is this Gragas that means the most in this game, I feel like. Those casks are going to have to be on point.
So Shanji's Gragas counter has been Aatrox this split. If you do have an enchanter to make that work. However, if you're going into a tank on that top side, picked up the hovering there, would have also worked tank versus tank. Shanji, his champion pool is so large, you know he's going to have so many different answers to it. He goes back towards this cannon. Now, of course, you are going to be going into that Yuumi who's going to have the exhaust, of course, which will help the FLL stand and fight. But with the amount of, again, proactive tools which OMG have with potentially winning lanes as well, and he is meant to keep the Ahri in lane. Cannon wins almost every lane we see in meta right now. The one question mark is this bot lane, because the Tristan Emilio, it's not something which I've seen before. You're against a Yuumi as well, which, of course, gives you a bit of a time condition on the game most of the time, evened out a little bit by the Emilio because you both have very, very strong enchanters. This game is very strange draft compared to our first two.
I will say there was a kind of point we were hovering around earlier on in the series when we were setting things up that will bot lane be exploited on either side. We definitely saw that in game number 1 against OMG. Abel and PPG not having necessarily the best time. Game number 2 looked a lot more stable. Now we're getting the culmination where we had a serious clapback from OMG, and now it's NIP with a little bit of aggression, trying to combat a lot of that comfort still coming through for OMG. And while we were talking about exploiting bot lane, it is still this 2v2 in mid jungle that you have to look at. Will we get a 3 of 3 of Aki just invading on Shadow level 2 and trying to pressure to make sure that his lanes can find advantages, or do going into a third game NIP actually have an answer to that? Do they play proactively around that aggression? We're going to be finding out very soon as we dive into game number 3 here. Both teams on the precipice of claiming another series win as we are in week number 3, almost to that halfway point. And it is NIP looking at a comeback here from that game 2, Jayo's ring. As soon as that body slam came forward, you know what was coming. The guillotine comes down in first blood to OMG. Shadow's waiting for Aki in the wings, but he's by himself. And quickly, Shanji can come down to join. So he's just going to start the back. Aki will end up backing off. Shanji going to have to stop his back. See the GAN Esports logo there from Aki, but it's Shadow looking for something back.
Yeah, this tower is completely gone. The work done by Cream earlier means that this tower is very low HP. It's going to go completely down. Big jump up here. Invincible has flash, has ult. This could be a big flank angle.
This is like a triple flank coming through from NIP. Into 4 members here. Cast comes through and the resets start coming through. NIP find the big pick apart fight, and Aki will go down here unless the vault breakers enough to get him out. The slow head come through at the last second. Charm connects and Invincible connects that kill. That's huge stuff for NIP.
Impact of the game. While Shanji just didn't commit to that fight. You don't have to stay this far. They just overstay a handful of seconds too much, and that's it. That's enough. They group up. Huge body slam coming in from Invincible. Now we have the sideline play. He doesn't have that flash anymore.
Oh no, a little bit of caster cursing and a little bit of dying for Invincible. Cream gets the kill in the side lane.
They had the similar situation in game 1. NIP, they're looking for a bursty fight. Take down a target first.
They might have seen Shanji here. He still comes in lethal as ever. Nice body slam from Invincible's final chapter across the majority of the team. As the reset position-wise comes through for NIP, they come away losing their ADC, which means they cannot contest this dragon. Sole point to OMG.
Very early on from OMG.
And I'm just saying right now, you got a 5-minute timer from this moment that we're rewatching is Shanji. Even with the control ward, it doesn't matter because you're still going to get the pressure off on that side. And while the block comes through from Invincible, it's just great target selection from OMG. It just feels like NIP are backed against the wall and just trying to fight their way out of it. The cast comes through, Cream separated, but he gets the CC on Invincible. Because of that trade, NIP back away from the Baron.
NIP, again, they have to go for this. They're losing in the wider map. It's close run stuff right now. They're looking to see who they can catch out from OMG, but without flashes, they have themselves the Spellbook Smite on Angel. They have 2 smites to 1. They might look to go for the flip.
We're dancing a little bit of a 1-2 step right now. NIP back on the Baron. OMG, they are tired of this game. And Aki overextends himself. The front to back is taking advantage of by OMG, though. They distracted the backline of NIP, and that has led to a boon for OMG. Shadow goes back in. Can Photic be the difference maker? Shanji, he gets exhausted, and here comes Abel. He's shutting him down and taking down the house. As Swole goes down, resets come through. PP God versus Angel is all that's left. Angel with a triple. He's looking for a quadra. He gets the damage. It's gonna be good. And it's NIP who come out on top in a long haul fight.
Despite this, the Baron does not die. Dragon is now on the table. That would be sold for OMG. This is not out of the woods yet for NIP. This has to be part of a multi-step comeback for them. But this is a hell of a way to do it. Aki goes way too deep. He gets soloed out, and that's a reset. You have Ahri, you have Viego, extra ult charge and a heal for the Ahri. The stolen soul from the jungler as well adds in an awful lot of value. You can see what happens when Shadow picks up the body of the Vi. The basic abilities are crazy. This fight's one thing though. You can see the setup for the Dragon coming in picture. It gets damn close, but you need to start winning around this Dragon fight. If you don't win this, Infernal Soul might just be the end of the game.
For OMG, if they can take this Dragon. They've already gotten it down about half health. Here comes Shadow with the steal. Can he get it? He does it. It's Abel. And afterwards, the fight too. The backline access from Cream with the flash in. They found Photic, and that should just mean it, right? OMG, they catch out Shadow on the side. And it doesn't matter if Angel comes out in those fights previously. It is an Infernal Soul burning them alive. And OMG, breath of life achieved. As a Baron goes down, we'll take a look at that replay.
Yeah, I guess we found out what Snowball's chance in Hell was. If it's OMG Snowball, sounds a pretty good chance. This was an awesome angle from Cream. NIP, they have to rush into this river. They have to cut corners on their setup, which means that Cream gets a flank angle. They can't protect. Photic can draw on that bot side, or rather just kind of like into the top side of that river bit. I was a huge fan of the Halo games growing up, and it feels like the Mac rounds are spinning up. Artillery is ready. OMG, Kira Cream's caught.
They got the Heartbreaker down. They got one body. They're looking for more resets here. And they need to watch Abel, though. He's the big focus. Going back into the pit. Heartbreaker not going to hit from Shadow. Abel's still alive. Moonlight Vigil comes through. You're starting to get resets on both sides. Rocket Jump comes out from Abel. Abel's looking for another one. He got shut down by Angel last time. He won't be shut down this time. And Shanji, he's going to find that slicing Maelstrom, but can't get the damage to stick. Photic, that's a lot of buster shot. Tick, tick, gone. A quadra kill for Abel. Can he get the penta here? Does he even want it? It's all eyes on Abel for OMG. We said he could have been the weak link. Well, there ain't no weak link in this bot lane today.
Abel becomes Kane, the original murderer. Quadra kill for him. And this Tristana, Milio, this experiment, the Gambit leaving up the Yuumi, taking the Milio. It works out, and you'll see them to 3-2, taking down the Ninjas in Pajamas.
2-1 and a huge reverse sweep from OMG. Just seeming like they found the composition in game 2 that worked for them. They found the aggression that worked for them. And here, even though there was a lot of promising fights from NIP, OMG just with the decisive plays and with the Tristana pick that took the game by storm.